Welcome to Porch Play Chat, sponsored by the American Association for Promoting the Child's Right to Play, or more affectionately called IPA-USA. IPA-USA is the USA affiliate of the International Play Association. So as part of our efforts to promote play, we're happy to introduce these Porch Play Chats. And these are just conversations that focus on a wide range of topics from experts who are as passionate about play as we are. So you can find the latest Porch Play Chats by visiting our website, IPAUSA.org, or finding us on Facebook and Instagram. I'm Deb Lawrence, and I'm the president of IPA USA. And with me on the porch is Lisa Murphy, who's one of our board members. Hey, Lisa.
Hi, nice to see you.
And Whitney Woodward, who's the secretary of IPA USA, who is here to talk to us about play during quarantine. Sounds really exciting because we all need this more than ever. So, yeah. Whitney, will you introduce yourself and let us and start us off with that topic?
Certainly. So my name is Whitney Woodward. I am, for a few more weeks, the executive director of a preschool and a daycare here in Atlanta. I apologize, I'm not on the porch. It is raining here in Atlanta, but as you can see by my office decor, I love being outside to play. I'll be returning to teaching this fall, so I'm kind of straddling littler guys and older guys right now. And then at my house, I have 3 elementary school age children who were homeschooled with me from the end of March, and now it's through the summer. It's the nonstop party. So I'm excited to talk about playing during quarantine because I've been very privileged to see that with the school I'm at right now. We have children as young as 6 weeks old coming with us. And then through my oldest child is a rising middle schooler, which is terrifying in its own right. We can have a conversation about that later. But in what playtime during quarantine looks like, because it definitely looks a lot different in my house, and I think a lot of other people's houses than in the before.
I think simply just the fact that people have been at home is probably different, right? That their play experiences are now more centrally located as opposed to going out and experiencing playful opportunities.
Centrally located with the same playmates, and my children are lucky that they have each other to play with. You know, I think about only children and the type of games that they're playing, and very young children and the games they're playing, and just the amount of time. You know, because when you get that virtual school, it comes in little chunks, but it's not that, that 7-8 hour day that they're used to, of being gone and then coming home. They do 30-minute Zoom meeting with their homeroom in the morning, and then 2 hours to kind of finish a little bit of schoolwork and then play, and then another 30-minute Zoom, and then a little bit of schoolwork and then play. So these long open-ended projects that are kind of the stuff we dream about when we talk about play on good days. I mean, full disclosure, we kind of the running joke at my house is there's 5 of us at my house. On good days, one person is having a meltdown, and on bad days, it's everybody. So, on good days, it's this open-ended play. We've got, half a room filled with Dr. Drew's blocks, and like, what does that look like, and what is it today, and don't step on that one, it looks like it's discarded, but actually that is the limousine holding the alligator. I'm like, cool, that is awesome, like, yes, more of this, please. But kind of ways to keep play during quarantine fun and fresh. The children are never at any shortage of ideas, but when we're looking at playing, what does that look like for toddlers? What does it look like for elementary school age children? What does it look like for teenagers? And what does it look like for us as adults? Because we need to play too. Like all of us know, the opposite of play is depression. And it's very easy to fall into depression during a quarantine. So how can we keep playing and encouraging that play? I know one thing we did for my house this summer too, and I'm a nerd, but y'all know this. We make a big, schedule of just like a couple goals during the summer, like, summer reading books for the kids, summer reading books for me too, exercising multiple times a week. We're optimists, and all these other things. And I thought it was really cool this year. So the kids have 5 little blocks of things that they're supposed to fill in to do, like working on their reading, riding a bike. And my youngest, who is 6, who is trying really hard to be IPA's mascot, he was like, I need to have play every day. I said, yeah, you do need to have play every day. So he put that as a goal for himself. And it's really been great for us because during quarantine, he's able to say, I haven't had time to play yet today. I know, tough. He also hasn't put on anything other than underwear for the last week. So we're not so structured, but I love that. And I feel very happy that he's caught that language of how important it is to play every day. And it's something I need to focus on for myself too. I need to play every day because it makes me a better person.
Yeah. And so I love the how, you're giving space, right, for play in your home. So can you talk to a little bit more about that for families who might still be in quarantine or teachers who may not have gone back to work yet because of where their state is?
Yeah. It's hard. It's really hard, especially if you like a clean house or order or structure. I think I know that there's been a lot posted on social media about how grateful the world is for teachers, and I don't think that can be overstated. How hard educators have been working during this quarantine, especially if they've got their own children at home. Hats off. It has been, talk about a labor of love and really showing the world how we do this because we love it. But I think when you're trying so hard to get all these things in order, it's, and we've talked about this before, it's just letting children do what they do best. They, okay, you've got this, what do you need for yourself right now? What do you need for your playtime? And then also sometimes saying, you got to get outside for a little bit. It's easy to get locked into that, being inside the house or inside an apartment. Let's get some fresh air for a little bit, because there is nowhere as exciting as the outdoors for children. There are bugs, there are worms, there are other kids playing. There's a breeze today. There was not a breeze yesterday. But kind of creating those environments, and in a sense, not quite a full like Montessori vibe to it, but not really creating all of these environments, but just making it open-ended for your children, because they're going to find things that they love playing with. The top to my kitchen pot has been Captain America's. I don't even know where it is right now, to be honest. I should probably find that, but it's been Captain America's shield for quite some time now. Needless to say, I'm not a very good cook if I haven't missed it for a while. But these are the things that kind of, just letting go, which is easy and hard at the same time. Once you've started to let go, you start staying off social media, making sure you're not comparing yourself to the Pinterest moms and dads of the world, but finding a way to say, my child's been inspecting their navel all day long, and that's okay. They're thinking things, they're processing things, they're letting it, finding that space that's happy and safe for them, and that's awesome. And tomorrow they might write their novel, and that's great too. But today they just kind of, want to play and hang around quietly and make up a song to themselves that might use the word fart in it 6 times, and that's fine. So again, it's that release. That I think quarantine's been really good about. I mean, there's been a lot of things that have been hard about it, and again, I'm speaking from a very lucky place where, no one in my family is sick. No, we're all healthy. Everybody's doing fine. So this is coming from that place of being okay, but looking beyond there in how can we play? And then on the flip side too, for families that are struggling, looking at IPA World's entire movement of children need play in a time of crisis. This is a time of crisis. They need play more than ever. We got to let them have it. So I think it's been one of the true positive things is embracing and loving how important play is for our children.
And I would add to that, because it was very well stated, we've come face to face with our control issues and our control need, and having to shed some of that. And I love the idea that it could be a point of recalibration for us, both as families, as you've alluded to, and also for the schools, that, you know, some of this stuff has literally had to have been let go. What part of this would it actually be in the best interest of everybody to figure out how to hold on to some of this as we re-enter and as we reopen and as our life kind of recalibrates back to, I've been calling it whatever's next. I've not been calling it going back to normal, because in quite honesty, I agree very much with the article that Peter Gray and Lenore Skenazy put out, that this could have been the pivot, the midstream adjustment that the spirit and soul of our children probably needed. Not to ever say that a pandemic is, you know, a good, but let's at least own that it has brought some of our issues smack in our face. And I think it has been important for us to examine some of that. And what part of this can I cherry pick to keep with me in my tool belt as I move forward?
Well, I 100% agree with that. And I think it allowed children to also prioritize for a little bit what they really want to do, you know, because there's no Little League right now. There's no chess club. There's no, you know, other than Zoom ones, there's no organized music groups or play groups even, really. And so they really get to choose, what do I want to do? Not what does my team want to do, not what does my group want to do, but it really gives them that individualized, what do I feel like doing today? And that is really what a gift. I mean, certainly, you know, we're not going to hope for a pandemic every year. 2020, you've proved your point.
We got it.
Don't need to visit this again. Yeah, don't need it anymore.
I don't ever want to worry if I can get toilet paper again, but that's okay. You know, again, hashtag first world problems. It's okay. But I think it's really allowed children without all of these scheduled activities and without wondering how they fit into the group. It's how do I fit into myself? And you know, I know we talked about it earlier, is finding a place in that within themselves, which I think a lot of adults have trouble with too, you know, not to go too far there, but, you know, with the escapism of getting lost in devices and going out and all these other things, there's nowhere for these kids to escape to. So how, you know, maybe this could be a good piece for them, you know, again, as you said, to just get in touch with who they are and who they want to be. I mean, because isn't that what most of childhood is figuring out who you want to be. Great, you've got all the time in the world, figure it out over and over again. You know, it's really been, you know, all these toys in my house, the ones that are getting played with over and over again are the building toys, the Legos, the blocks, and I'm playing with them too. I'm getting really good at skyscrapers and being the villain, because that's who I keep getting cast as. I'll try not to take it personally. But, you know, these are things that keep getting over and over again, the ones that take a little bit more creativity and a little bit more time because we have it. So, you know, it's all these things, you know, walking the dog has become an event because we get to, you know, leave the house together and stop and take walks. And the other thing too, I think with all these playthings is children feel a lot more connected to their immediate community. You know, with really knowing your neighbors and knowing what their schedules are during the day. And when your mailman comes, my children are all up in Mr. Griffith's business. They want to wave from afar and be like, what are you doing today? I'm like, leave that poor man alone. Like, he's on a schedule, but they want to know. So, I mean, all these pieces that are really old fashioned, but then on the, you know, there's a lot going on nationally as well. So it's a good time for children to, you know, for parents, we've got time to have these talks with them on, you know, what does a pandemic mean? You know, what does racial equity mean? Like, what are these big pieces that we normally don't have time to really talk about and go into depth with every day? We've got that time to talk about it. And then take a break from it to digest it and play and let it roll around and process and then come back to it. So I do think it's a really weird time, but if we use it right, I think this will just totally invigorate a generation of players to own it and to be all about it, even as adults, you know, to instead of, you know, oh, that time I had to spend at home. It's like, oh, this time I had to spend at home. But it's, you know, it's all about how it's presented to them and allowed to flourish.
And I really like reflecting back on how overscheduled children are, right? If they go to school, then, you know, they're told what to do, where to go, what to do next by adults the majority of the day. When then maybe they get off the bus and it's time to go to gymnastics, or it's time to go to ballet, or it's time to go to soccer practice, or it's time to do this and time to do that. And there really has not been space for them to say, here's where I want to play. Here's what I want. Here's who I want to play with. There really hasn't been that space for them. And so I'm hoping that that is a part of our healing, that we recognize that children need to have space, just like we did. I mean, I would play outside for hours after school. Hours. Nobody told me. Now, and I've always been mad at my mom that she didn't put me in ballet because I have no grace. And I have no physical coordination. And so I was always mad at mom because she never put me in ballet. But I will tell you, I benefited greatly from being able to choose what I wanted to play and who I wanted to play with and what I wanted to play after school, instead of being so programmed. And I think parents do that not because they see it as programming their children. I think they do it because they want to offer their children opportunity.
Absolutely. And there's also that feeling of keeping up with the Joneses. Oh, well, my child didn't play an instrument till this later on. I better get them in there. Oh, we've got to, make sure that they've got these lessons. Otherwise they'll be behind the other children. There's that fear of being behind, and even when we all know children develop at their own pace, no one ever wants to have been the reason their child was put at a disadvantage. It's that very, terrifying fine line that that we hear that voice in our heads before we fall to bed. Am I doing the right thing? That could be a whole other porch chat, is parents doubting themselves about, am I giving them too much playtime? Am I giving them not enough? But hindsight's always going to be 20/20, and you just do the best you can. And speaking of hindsight being 20/20, I don't know if you guys heard that hindsight 20/20, is that actually just a reflection on this year, or is that?
Oh yeah. Ooh, that's deep. Let's think about that. Oh, that could be its own porch play chat. Yeah, that's wow. Woo. Yeah.
But it is that release from schedule has been such a gift to playtime, because that's the whole thing, is playtime should not be timed. It's not play timed. It's just that infinite span of playing until I feel like wandering away from it for a little bit.
And that's what I'm hoping we hold on to on the other side.
Fingers crossed.
We're very, very picky as to what we allow to start chipping away from that.
Yes.
Like, that's what I want the new baseline to be, that time for the play. So if you decide to start eliminating it, you better have a darn good reason.
Yeah. And again, I think if parents understood what children learn when they play versus what they're learning when they're doing repetitive sports all the time, I think we just have to sort of take a step back and reflect on that. And don't feel guilty if you're not keeping up with the Joneses. Be grateful that your child is having experiences that many other children have lost because of being overscheduled.
Well, what I find so funny too is, over and over again, we have to justify why we let children have that time to play. We always have to justify it. Here's mountains of research. But how many people are asking for research-based data on why my kid should play Little League? What makes one more important than the other? What's giving one more value in a sense than the other, when, like, we know play has all this value, but why are we having to justify it? And I think that's this thinking that needs to change as well.
So I wrote a book about that.
And let's say what it is, Lisa.
Lisa Murphy on Play, the
Yeah.
foundation that supports children learning, where we unpack that very question. We've got 50 years of research.
I've got my dog-eared copy right over there.
Yeah, me too. It's on my bookshelf. Yeah, and so
age-old questions that we joke about, that the right person hasn't written the right book yet, right? That's why we keep reading them and we keep writing them, because we figure somebody at some point is going to say it in such a way that we don't have to defend it anymore. And, you know, that's a whole play chat in and of itself. But I mean, I've stopped defending it. I have now started to connect people with the evidence and the research. But, you know, I'm not going to stop doing what I know is best practice just because you've not read the article. You know, I'm going to either trust that you trust me, that I would be doing what is best for your child in this program, or I'm going to get you linked up with the information and the data that you need to bring your own self to the understanding that what I'm doing is developmentally appropriate.
Right. And everybody should have that book on their shelf so that they can help parents understand that, right?
Thank you.
I mean, I think it's really important. So thank you, Whitney. This has been another wonderful conversation that I really think has bubbled up some issues that we'll need to delve deeper into in other Porch Play Chats. And so to view other Porch Play Chats, visit IPA-USA.org. And until next time, thanks for listening and keep playing.
Thanks for being on the show, Whitney.
Yes.
Thanks, guys.
And don't go away.
Oh.